Good morning, ladies. I know it's been a while since I've been on, but there's been a lot of things I've had to do with regards to our channel, which involved a lot of research. So I gathered up enough research where I can do a few videos at a time. So now we're going to get into part 6 of this series, Human Sex Trafficking, American Style. Okay? Under the copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for a purpose such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit educational or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Further disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed in this video and on Black Women Unprotected YouTube channel are those of the host and or guest and do not necessarily reflect the opinion of Black Women Unprotected YouTube channel. Okay, ladies, we're going to get into it. Okay, there's been a lot of talk about human and sex trafficking. We talk about how we have to be careful, safety tips and the like. But there is a segment, of human and sex trafficking that is not being talked about. Yes, we talk about Uber and Lyft and cabs and bandit cabs and the like. Yes, we have talked about that. But one thing that has not been spoken about and needs to be spoken about, and it has a very, very dark side to it. It's a safety feature, but it also comes with a dark side that can bring about deadly consequences for us. And that safety feature is the child lock. Child care locks, these safety locks on doors. Ladies, before we get into these cars, Uber, Lyft, taxi, whatever, we got to make sure this is off, that it is unlocked. Because if you do not check and it is on, once you're in, that's it. You got to make sure that's off, like it's displayed here in the Mitsubishi. So this is a close-up to show you about that child lock. You want to have it in the off position like it is displayed here. And this is outlined in the Mitsubishi. Okay? So this is what it looks like in this particular vehicle. This is the Mitsubishi Outlander. So you got to check this here, and you have to make sure that it is in the unlocked position. In case you need to get out, you will be able to. This is something that's not talked about because there's so much emphasis put on safety for children. So we have seat belts, we got car seats, we have, strappings, chairs, everything. Seat belts, we have the whole 9 yards. We got different car seats. We got strollers that can morph into car seats. So we have all these safety tips and all these features for children in these vehicles. Not knocking that. But what we need to understand that those safety features, okay, they're not safe for us. They're not. They're not safe for us. So here, other examples, with the child safety lock. And this is from childlock.org. So we have to look at this here carefully, because there's consequences for us. We can lose our lives. You get in that car, and that lock is not in the unlocked position. If it's not in that unlocked position, You're trapped. You become a sitting duck. Okay, this becomes a death trap. And I'm not trying to be spooky. Okay, I'm not trying to be spooky at all. But when you look at the fact that since New Year's, 1/1/21, 745 black women and girls slaughtered since the beginning of the year. What do you think that number's going to be by year's end? What do you think that number's going to be by year's end? Care to take a guess? Do we even want to take a guess? So, because of this these extra threat to us, which is not really spoken about, nobody's even given a thought to it. We get in a car, we never even think about this. We don't think about it. It has never occurred to us to think about it. The car door child safety lock. You know, this is such a detriment to women, to us black women. You got to check it, ladies. And you can use the key to unlock it. Any key will do. But you got to make sure this is in the unlocked position. If you're out there at night, use the flash. If you don't have a flashlight with you, use the flashlight on your phone. So you can shine on that and make sure that is in the unlocked position. Then that way, you're getting a ride and you're not being set up. You're getting a ride and not being kidnapped. These locks, as we know, they prevent children from opening the rear doors from the inside while the vehicle is moving. These are to prevent injury. Yes, we know that and we understand it. So these locks, they're highly praised. They started putting them into cars in 1985 when they started coming up with these different safety regulations for vehicles. So this is a code of federal regulations. This was enacted in 1985. So all vehicles that were sold in the United States from 1985 under the Code of Federal Regulations, the United States has ordered that all vehicle manufacturers install rear door child safety locks on all models of vehicles. Now you got some cars that'll implement the child lock control as a rotary mechanism, which can only be operated with a key. Okay, so you can use your key to unlock it if it's in the lock mode. You want to check it. And if a driver has a problem with it, then you don't get in his vehicle. So you don't end up in this situation. Don't get in his vehicle. If he has a problem, get out. So you don't end up missing. You get out of his vehicle. You cancel that ride. If you have to wait longer, so what? Better safe than sorry. Driver shouldn't give you a hard time about it. If he balks at you turning that lock in the unlock position, you don't want to take that ride. You don't want to get, and you know what? And you don't have to be polite. You don't have to be polite about it. Because you have to understand the dire warnings that come with this. If that lock is on and you get in that car, you are trapped. There's no getting out unless you break the window. Okay? This is the only way you'll be able to get out. That's where this come into place. This is where this come into play, ladies. You need to get these. I'll try to get that to focus. Yeah, these window breakers to break the windows out. You got to be able to do it. So if you're in that vehicle and you can't get out, you get the shatter, the heart, you can break the glass out. You can get these units on Amazon. They're like anywhere from $10, $15. They're very inexpensive. They even have units that glow in the dark. They got glow in the dark models. So you'll be able to find it. Also, these units, you can cut the seatbelt. There's a lot of, they're multi-use, multi-purpose. No lady should be without, no sister, none of us should be without this equipment. You can get them in bulk too. You can get these in bulk. You can cut your seatbelt. You can shatter the window. And you can use it for self-defense as well. So we need these numbers to drop. We need this to drop. Look at there. Since the beginning of the year. This is as of June. 6 months in. And look how many of us been killed and you don't even hear about it. Nobody talks about it. Nobody, because you have to remember that value factor that I spoke about in previous videos in the series. So these traffickers, whom 60% of them are black. Okay? So that's another thing that's not talked about. Many of them believe, if you kidnap black women, there are no real charges to face. It's because of that value factor that we don't have. We don't have it. So they figure, you kidnap black women, you'll get a slap on the wrist. This is what they believe. And I hate to say it, but to a degree, there's some accuracy to that. Because we're not protected. Ain't nobody thinking about us. They're not thinking about us at all. This is why we're more likely to be victims of human and sex trafficking, American style, more so than anybody else. We are the foundation of this $150 billion industry. $150 billion. That is what's made annually. $150 billion. We are the foundation of this, ladies. And nobody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about it at all. We have to be careful in any and everything we do. It is an absolute must. It never occurred to any of us that taking an Uber or Lyft could end up being a coffin for us, a death trap. We never thought about it. It never occurred to us to check the child, safety locks on these doors. It never occurred to us to do that. We never thought about it. We would just get in the car, get on our cell phones, talk, fall asleep. Not even thinking about the fact that our safety is at complete and utter risk. Now, honking a horn in a car if you're trying to get out. Here's another thing to consider, ladies. Say you were a driver and he turns out a dark road or turn off or pull up onto the side and shut the car off. You need to know something, ladies. Some cars, when they're turned off, the horn does not work. So if you're fighting with them, you wouldn't be able to hit that horn to bring attention to yourself. Because in some vehicles, when you shut off the car, it shuts off the horn. This is why you have to have whistles, the little alarm gadgets, and the like. I don't care if you got to get a bicycle horn. I don't care. You got to have a noisemaker or air horn. Something that's going to make a lot of noise. Other than you screaming, you want to have an alarm too. Alarms, whistles, whatever it is, you want to have it. So you can draw attention. You want to be able to break the glass. You want to be able to do this. You want to be able to break that window. In order to be able to break that window, we got to have that tool. We have to have it. If we don't have this here, we're in trouble. We got to be able to get out. You have a key. You can use any one of your keys to put these child locks in the unlocked position. This is like another car. You want to be able to put that in an unlocked position. See, you can use a key. See, it shows how you can use the key to unlock it. Because you're going to need a key. Especially some of these newer model vehicles. See, with these older model vehicles, you could just flip the latch. You could just flip the latch over. You know, you could just slide it over. Left to right. Up or down. Like we got that going left to right. Slide it to the right is unlocked. Slide it to the left, you're trapped. But in some of your newer vehicles, you're going to have a key. Got to have a key. Any key you could use. Because you got to unlock that. These items here could have objects to it where you could use to unlock, you know, those child locks. These glow in the dark. See, you can store them anywhere. But ladies, not only do you want to have one of these in your car, you want to have one of these in your purse, in your bag. You want to have one of these in your bag. It's imperative. Whether you have a car or not, you should not be without these life-saving tools. Because then with this tool here, you could break out the window. You break the window, that's going to draw attention. It's going to draw the much needed attention. Not only will it draw the much needed attention, it will allow you to be able to escape. Because you'll be able to break that window and get out. And other things you can do is reach for the hazard light if you're fighting in the car. If you have to make them crash your car, hit a curb, or hit another car, because there's signs that you could be in trouble. You look at his phone. If your ride doesn't show up, if his screen is dark, you having to tap that screen. And if your trip doesn't show up, chances are he done canceled it. Cancel your trip. So he can't be tracked. He don't say nothing. You're trying to talk to him. He doesn't respond. That's a problem. So, what are you going to do? Reach over and tap him on the shoulder? Oh, no. You better take your window breaker. You could jab him in the shoulder with it, near the collarbone. Start breaking out windows, make them crash. Make them crash that car. Have them weaving. You want to draw attention. Your life depends on it. Because once you're in there, you're in there. There was a woman, according to the Mercury News, there was a woman in Vallejo. She had to flee from a lift. She had to jump out the window. The driver had a meth pipe He locks the door, had the doors locked. Locked the doors on her. Because here's another thing you have to understand, ladies. With regards to these child locks, death traps, if you will, some can be locked from the driver door panel. Not all of them are on the side doors as I displayed here. Some of these luxury cars or what have you, they can lock it and unlock it from the driver door panel. This is why you want to have one of these tools. And you get in the car and say, oh, put your stuff in the trunk. No, I'm going to put it in the back seat with me. That's a sign. Yeah, they want you to put all your stuff in the back so you don't have nothing to protect yourself with in case things decide to go south. So this woman in Vallejo, she had to jump out. She thought it would be safer to take an Uber instead of walking. You know? So she's suing. She's suing Lyft. This driver pulled over into a dark lane, stopped the car and locked the doors, forcing her to flee through the window. And get this, when the woman was going through the window, he was trying to close the window on her. Tried to close her up in the window. Yes, sisters. He tried to close her up in the window. That's why you got to be able to break that window, ladies. This is why we got to have this tool. We got to have it. We have to be able to get out when somebody is trying to trap us in. We got to have the tool, got to have this here, so we don't end up among this statistic here, this number here, so to speak. Yes, he was trying to close her up in the window. She got the lift at 1 o'clock in the morning. That's another thing, ladies. Try not to use these ride-sharing services so late at night, because the predators are out. Predators, drunk drivers, and the like. You got to be careful, and certainly don't be taking them alone. So this guy was supposed to be taking her home. She went to a convenience store less than a mile from her house. She thought a Lyft ride would be safer than walking at night. But no, she gets in this guy's car, and he turns out to be a predator. So that's one thing nobody talks about. These child safety locks. Everything good ain't good for everybody. I'm not condemning these rear child safety locks. I'm not condemning them. I'm not speaking against them. I'm just relaying to us, sisters, how they can cost us our life. See, we can't look at everything the way everybody else does. We cannot do it. That's not a luxury we can afford. They're not doing background checks on these drivers like they should. Now, you know, with these apps, you can access emergency help through the app and reach a live person at any time. You know, after your ride. I don't know if that's during the ride, but I would give it a shot. And Lyft, and here's another problem. You know, these ride-sharing companies don't even cooperate with you when you're trying to file suit, you know, have the person arrested. It's like they cover for them, because Lyft wouldn't even provide her with the driver's full name. But the app said the guy was called Rex. That was his name. Soon after the ride began, the guy drove off course. He turned down a dark side street. No explanation given. She was talking to him. He wouldn't respond. If you're speaking to your driver and your driver does not respond to you, you may have a problem. If he's not talking to you. or if he doesn't respond to nothing you say. She tapped him on his shoulder to get his attention. Then the guy pulled on the stop of the road. He stopped the car and locked the doors. Okay, when she tapped him again, he responded, only he was verbalized like gargling or whatever. Weird noises, only, she couldn't really understand. It was like a gurgling, breathing sound. He started making these sounds after she was giving him directions to the gas station, with the store. So then the guy lowered his sun visor, and she was able to see his meth pipe. So she was like, oh no. And then he reached down for something. She couldn't see it, but he started reaching for something. She told the driver that she wanted out, tried to open up the door, but she couldn't get the door open. She was trapped inside. So she started climbing out the window. And like I said, as she was climbing out the window, the dude tried to close her up tried to close the window on her. That's why you got to have a glass breaker to break these windows. She was able to get out. She was, scraped up, shaken up, of course, but she survived. She was able to get out. We got to be prepared to break out when we get inside these rideshare vehicles. You make sure those locks are off. And if you're in a vehicle where they can control it from the driver's side door panel, be extra careful. This is why you got to carry weapons. Kubotan pins, pocket knives, pepper spray, tasers. These are things that break the doors, the windows. You can use that as a weapon as well. If there's a blade on there where you can cut your seatbelt, use it. Got to use it. Because the companies, they don't want bad press, not realizing, not cooperating brings bad press. So she had to get out. She had to get out through the window. Nope. And so they was trying to say, well, maybe the company wanted to know if she had done that because she didn't want to pay. Can you believe? You see how offensive that is? Instead of them looking at the fact that she escaped for her safety, look at what they come up with. Well, maybe she dove out the window because she didn't want to pay. Really? How's that? You paid with your credit card in advance when you booked the trip. Am I just about right about that? If I'm wrong, somebody let me know. So for Lyft, and to come at her with an implication that she didn't want to pay for the ride, that is racist, that is stereotypical. And that shows a lack for her concern, life, and safety. So she's suing them, and I don't blame her, and I hope she wins. This is ridiculous. They don't screen these drivers. Uber and Lyft, they need to share names of the drivers that have been deactivated for sexual assault and other serious incidents. But in her lawsuit, they don't screen these drivers. A lot of them are raping female passengers. A lot of them are sexual predators. You got women out here that are booking a Lyft, a ride. This is supposed to be a service. A woman is not booking a trip to be raped, to be murdered, to be trafficked, to end up in this situation. We're not signing up for that, ladies. We just want to ride home. But you got the greed. You got this greed going on out here. They don't care. With everything that's going on out here, with human trafficking being the 150 billion entity that it is, they gonna sit up there and say, well, maybe she jumped out the window because she didn't want to pay. That's what they came up with. Shame on Lyft. Shame on them for that. That is so foul. But this is how we're viewed, ladies. That just lets you know how unprotected we really are. They didn't even give any consideration to this man having a meth pipe. They gave no consideration to this guy pulling off on a dark road and turning off the car and locking her in, trapping her inside. They don't even think about none of that. They just blew that off. And the only thing they could come up with is that maybe she jumped out the window because she didn't want to pay. They figured that that's probably why she did it. So there it is. She asked to be let out. He was supposed to stop and let her out. But he didn't do it. So they figured that she jumped out the window because she probably didn't want to pay for the ride. That is so foul. That's just really foul. I'm just going to try to keep my language clean here because I am just livid. I am livid that they would think that she jumped out the window because she probably didn't want to pay for the ride. They didn't even consider that she was fighting for her life. That she jumped out for her life. That's just terrible. It's just really, really sad, ladies. This is how they view us. This is how they think about us. But you gotta be safe out here. This is serious business here. So ladies, when your Uber pull up, and that's the ride that you done booked, because everything match up, the number plate, the car model, everything match that you see on your app, you always check that information before you even approach the vehicle. Check everything from afar. You don't want to be close where you could be snatched. You want to take a picture. Take a picture of the car. Take a picture of that car and share it with people. And Uber, they have a share my ride function. If you didn't know about it, ladies, start using it. Because if you're going to be using these ride share services, you need to let everybody you know that you're using these services. Take pictures of the car. Who cares what the driver thinks? This is your safety. This is all about your safety. They don't like it, to hell with them. Don't take the ride. Simple as that. Take a picture of the car. License plates, everything. If a picture of the driver shows up on the app, screenshot that and send that to everybody. If not, take a picture of his ass too. Her, whoever. Just because it's a woman. Now I'm going to tell you ladies something. Don't get sidetracked by gender. You don't want to do that. Don't get sidetracked. Just because an Uber driver is a woman, that don't mean she's less dangerous. Doesn't mean that at all. Nope. Don't be sidetracked by, because you got women who are active and the human and sex trafficking, American style. You got women. You got women that be looking for girls at church. At church. Looking for girls to pick up. To traffic. I'm telling you what's going on out here, ladies. When they be trying to pick you up in a parking lot, at a mall or whatever the case may be, they even use old ladies. Middle-aged women walk up to you, approach you. And they could be in on it too. They'll even use kids. 10, 12-year-olds. It's sad that we have to live where trust is not part of our culture and our life. We have to look at everybody as suspect. And that's not negative thinking. These are life-saving moves. These are life-saving tips. We have to look at everybody as suspect. I'm going to tell you something. I've had people tell me, oh, you're just paranoid. Let me tell you something. You know what paranoia is? Paranoia is being careful on a finer scale. You might not have thought of it that way. I sure as hell did. A long time ago. We can't, people say, oh, you got to trust. No, you ain't got to do nothing. We are at risk. We are at risk as black women. Nobody else is considering it. We have to. So they got this, what's this, theblackfo.com/Stop Killing Black Women initiative. Check that out. These items here I'm showing here, they're all on Amazon. All these items are on Amazon. The glow-in-the-dark everything. It's something how something so safe can at the same time, and this is like safety kits. It's sad how something's so safe but yet be so deadly and risky for us. But this is what we're dealing with, ladies. This is how it is. You know, any one of us, either one is easy enough to do. You have to do it. You have to check, you have to investigate before you get to that car. Do it as you wandering, going toward the car slowly. You have to do it. You have to take a picture. Who cares what that driver says? Because if he's got an issue with you taking a picture, that's a problem. Yeah, because you might have to make it a point. Let the driver know, hey, you're taking a picture. You have to get the pictures. Check out the vehicle. If you can't see the arrow, if it's too dirty, you quickly rub off the dirt, but you can't get a clear view looking down from an angle at that child protection lock. Shine your light on it from your cell phone. You got to be able to see it. You know that old saying, if you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. I can't tell you how true that is. Your safety comes first. You don't be polite when it comes to your safety. While you stand there holding that door and you confused, it may seem the whole truth when it comes to your safety. Now, when the driver starts talking to you, ask you how you doing and where y'all headed today, You don't want to look paranoid and socially awkward. You just switch your focus to answering him, and as you get in the car. Then you realize, while thinking about the door lock, you forgot to ask the driver his name and whether he knows yours. You have to do that, ladies. These are precautions. It may seem basic, but these basic precautions can provide you with an opportunity to see any red flags, to reveal these red flags to you. You realize he might be wearing a P2 mask over the lower half of his face. Nothing unusual because we got the coronavirus, but it makes it hard to identify him. You can't make him, take the mask off. It's reasonable protective equipment for the job. We understand that. But you can mention ditching it could reduce your Uber safety more than anything else, right? So not only are you unsure of whether your driver is the guy in the app profile, but you have no idea whether or not you're locked in the car. You never thought about it before, but you know what? We got to start thinking about it, ladies. We have to think about it. And we can't worry about how we look. Oh, you being paranoid, you suspicious. So what? My safety is my top priority. And if a person doesn't respect the fact that you have placed your safety as your top priority, no. You don't have time for that. We never thought about it. We get in cabs and we never even thought about our safety being at risk. We never thought about it. You have a tactical pen. Have that with you for reassurance. And plan B, have your glass breaker. So that's it. You got to look at everything. It's like we have to investigate before we even get in these vehicles. Got to look at everything. See if this person is trained. You have to make sure you got you be prepared. You have to train yourself. Make sure you're prepared. Any of us can end up in this type of situation. But we must try to execute a new process without first working out the steps involved. Especially trying to practice in them. In this scenario with this, you go into this Uber car, you're unaware of the variations of the car. You're not aware of the mechanisms that goes along with the car, which is the locks itself. The locks, these locks is the difference between life and death for us. They're a deciding factor if we make it home or not. We never thought about it. We try to do this here under pressure. But ladies, don't be under pressure while you're investigating, making sure that this car is safe for you to get in. And if he's trying to pressure you, oh no. You cancel that ride. You don't get in that vehicle. You don't get in that vehicle. If you feeling uneasy in any way, shape, or form, driver looking all weird, not talking to you, or if he gives you any issues, if he makes any statements about your concern about the child safety locks, or you're taking off the child safety locks, even if he's laughing or speaking in jest, or speaking in a comical way, so that you don't be alarmed. Be alarmed. Because if he's on the up and up, he'll take the locks off without you even having to do it. You see you checking for the locks? If he don't come over and take them child locks off for you, ladies, that's something to think about. That's something to think about here. We can't even look at courtesy the same way as everybody else looks at courtesy. Mm-mm. If he doesn't, you looking for the lock, like say if it's dirty, like I said earlier, if you can't see it, you can't see the child lock clearly to determine whether it's locked or unlocked. If he does not assist you, that's a red flag to me. Because, yeah, you want to make sure it's unlocked. But if you're stuck, if you have to unlock it yourself,